There was once a man who dared to question everything, not just society, not just religion. He questioned the very ground of truth itself. That man was Friedrich Nietzsche. Some call him mad, others call him a genius. But Nietzsche didn't want followers. He wanted awakenings, not comfort, but confrontation. You may have heard the phrase, "God is dead." But what did Nietzsche really mean? And more importantly, what happens to us when we stop believing in the old gods and realize we're standing alone in the universe? This isn't just a story about a philosopher. It's a journey into meaning, into madness, and maybe into freedom. Nietzsche lived in the 1800s, a time when religion was beginning to lose its grip on the Western world. Science was rising. Old beliefs were cracking, and Nietzsche saw it coming. In The Gay Science, he declared, "God is dead, God remains dead, and we have killed him." But he wasn't celebrating. He was warning us. You see, when people stop believing in God, they don't just lose religion, they lose the foundation for all their values. Right, wrong, good, evil. Everything starts to feel meaningless. Nietzsche called this nihilism, the deep sense that nothing truly matters. Without God, who decides what's right? Without heaven or hell, why live a moral life? He said the world was entering a dark time, a spiritual crisis where humanity would feel lost, hollow, and adrift. But he also believed this collapse was necessary. To build something new, the old must fall. He wasn't trying to destroy meaning, he was clearing the ruins, so we could rebuild it from the ground up. Nietzsche believed that most people don't create their own values. They inherit them from religion, from culture, from fear. But what if those values aren't noble at all? What if they're designed to keep you small? In Beyond Good and Evil, Nietzsche wrote about two types of morality: slave morality and master morality. Slave morality comes from weakness. It praises humility, obedience, and suffering. It calls pride and strength sin. It's the morality of the oppressed. Master morality, on the other hand, comes from power and confidence. It values courage, ambition, and creation. It doesn't ask for permission. It acts. Nietzsche believed that Christianity turned strength into sin and weakness into virtue. In doing so, it robbed people of their ability to grow. He wasn't telling people to be cruel. He was asking, are your morals helping you thrive, or are they just chains you've been taught to love? Deep inside every human being, Nietzsche saw something powerful. He called it the will to power. It's not about controlling others, it's about growing, becoming, creating. Think of a seed pushing through the soil to become a tree. That's the will to power. It's life's drive to express itself fully. Nietzsche believed most people suppress this force. They shrink themselves to fit into rules. They trade greatness for safety. But the will to power is always there, in our hunger to improve, to transform, to become more than we are. This idea isn't about being better than others. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. Overcoming fear, doubt, smallness. To Nietzsche, life isn't meant to be endured. It's meant to be affirmed fully and fiercely. Imagine this. A voice tells you that you will live your exact life, over and over, forever. Every pain, every joy, every mistake, endless repetition. This was Nietzsche's idea of the eternal return. It's not about whether this is literally true. It's a test, a mirror. Would you embrace your life exactly as it is, or would you curse it if your answer is no? Then maybe something needs to change. Nietzsche believed that the person who can say yes onto eternal return, yes to every moment, every hardship, every breath, is truly alive. Not because their life is perfect, but because they live it with full acceptance. No regrets, no escape, only presence. From this journey of destruction and self-overcoming, Nietzsche imagined a new kind of human, the Übermensch. Often translated as the Overman or Superman, the Übermensch is not about race or power. It's about transformation. It's someone who creates their own values, someone who dances in the chaos and calls it art. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche describes 3 stages of becoming. The camel is burdened, obedient, carrying weight. The lion, rebellious, fierce, destroying old beliefs. The child, playful, innocent, creating something new. The Übermensch is the child after the storm. Not naive, but free. Not bound by the past, but born fresh in every moment. This isn't just a philosophy, it's a challenge. Will you be the one who breaks free, or the one who stays asleep? Near the end of his life, Nietzsche's mind broke. He suffered a complete mental collapse. Many say he went mad. But what if his madness was a kind of crossing? Nietzsche stared into truths that most people avoid. He stripped away all illusions, and what was left was raw, terrifying freedom. Was it too much for one soul to carry, or was he simply too far ahead? Carl Jung believed Nietzsche went where few dare to go, into the deep unconscious, into the soul's darkness, and paid the price. His madness wasn't weakness. It was the cost of truth. Nietzsche's words were twisted by tyrants and misunderstood by scholars. But those who really listen hear not hatred, but a call to wake up, to tear down borrowed beliefs, to face life without lies. Nietzsche didn't give answers. He handed you the hammer and asked, "What will you build once the idols fall?" In a world without gods, there is no map, only the self, and the question, if nothing is given, will you dare to give yourself a meaning? Will you become the creator of your own truth? What if everything you believe about right and wrong, truth and meaning, is just a story? A story created not to set you free, but to keep you asleep. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't come to comfort us. He came to disturb us, to shake the foundations of what we thought was real. He didn't want to give us answers. He wanted to set fire to the old lies and force us to find our own truth. Nietzsche is not just a philosopher. He is a storm, a voice that speaks from the edge of human thought. He invites us on a journey, into the dark, into the unknown, into the self. He asks, are you ready to look into the abyss? Because once you do, it stares back. This is not just a lesson in philosophy. This is an initiation into a deeper way of seeing. God is dead. These 3 words shook the world. But Nietzsche didn't mean a God was physically killed. He meant that the old beliefs, the old systems, the religious stories that once gave life meaning, had lost their power. Science was rising. Logic and reason were replacing faith. But something strange happened. As the old gods faded, people didn't feel more free. They felt more lost. Without a higher power, without eternal truths, what would guide us? What would hold us together? Nietzsche saw this clearly. He saw a world walking into a spiritual crisis. And he warned us, if we don't create new meaning, something worse will rise to fill the void. His words were not just a warning, they were a challenge. If the old gods are gone, who or what will take their place? Nietzsche looked deep into history and saw something hidden, something most people missed. He saw that our ideas of good and evil weren't created from truth. They were created from weakness. Long ago, strong and powerful people lived with confidence. They called their strength good, but those who were weak, those who couldn't fight back, began to resent the strong. And so they reversed the meaning of the words. They called humility good and power evil. They praised obedience and shamed freedom. This, Nietzsche said, is slave morality, a way of thinking born from fear and bitterness. It's the morality that says suffering is noble, that success is selfish, that desire is dangerous. But what if all of that is upside down? Nietzsche tells us our values are not sacred, they were created. And if they were created, they can be changed. Now imagine this. You are told that you must live your life again. Every joy, every pain, every moment exactly the same forever. Would you celebrate that? Or would you be terrified? This is the eternal return, one of Nietzsche's most powerful ideas. It's not just a strange theory about time, it's a test, a mirror. If you truly love your life, if you live with passion, courage, and truth, then living it again would be a gift. But if you live in fear, regret, or numbness, the idea becomes a nightmare. So ask yourself, are you living in a way you would want to repeat? The eternal return is a challenge, to live fully, to embrace every second, to say yes to life, even the hard parts, because this life might be the only one you ever get. Out of this chaos, Nietzsche gives us a new symbol, the Übermensch,